And we got our asses kicked today, fellas. We talk about it on this episode of Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am the host. This is Locked On West Virginia, where we're talking about another big loss for the Mountaineers. This one was not close, pretty much from the beginning, but we'll get there. This episode is going to be brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, when it comes to FanDuel, do us a favor. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Make sure you download FanDuel today to get started. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. It's not easy to watch your team get drubbed like that, especially when it feels like everything that can go wrong has gone wrong recently for West Virginia. Some people were telling me, oh, it's just excuses, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the truth is also part of that. Just is. I don't like it. I know you don't like it, but here we are, right? We're in a situation where we don't have a good football team. We have some good players on this football team for sure, but, it's not good right now in a lot of ways, but we have to keep supporting the team, like, at least that's how I feel. I don't know how you guys feel. I would love to know. Let me know in the comments how you feel, because, I'm going to say I'm at a loss for words. I mean, we're going to look at the stats and everything. For those of you that are just listening and don't know exactly what happened, West Virginia got crushed today by Utah 48-14 in a game where it seems like they got a late spark from a couple players that I want to mention that maybe need more playing time. We'll talk about that. It wasn't close. I mean, very efficient. I think Utah scored on 6 straight drives to begin the game. Final score of 48-14. It was 28-0 at halftime. You had a chance to, I think you have it 21-7 instead. That was a big turning point in the game. Unfortunately, a false start on offense made that null and void, and the game really turned from there. There's not a whole lot of solutions for the issues we got right now. We've got injured players that just can't play. That's going to make – let me turn my hat backwards here. My ring light died, so I'm going to buy a new one here come Tuesday. But, West Virginia's in a spot where quarterback number one's down, quarterback number two's down, running backs number 1, 2, and 3 are down. The defense has been on the field so much the first 4 games. They're probably beat up and just beat to death. So it's not great, right? Let's look at the stats here on the game. Div Dampier, 21-26, 237 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Khalil Wilkins led West Virginia in passing yards, it looks like. Let me make sure here. Yeah, he did. Khalil Wilkins had 63 yards passing on the day. That's it. Like, it's abysmal, guys. I mean, you can't – you literally can't do worse. So, a long way to go from here. Obviously, this is a bad offensive football team. I think our defense is tough enough to keep us in games. Even after what happened today, it was just, once again, you're putting them back on the field time after time after time after time. Even though they were being scored on, I'm not saying that Utah wasn't able to move the ball. But if you gave them anything to play for, if you could just score, do anything to make it just a little easier on them, man, it's just sad to see. because I feel like some talent is being wasted on this team. We have some individual players that I would love to have any other year. Michael Coach Jr., Jamoy Robinson, players like that just can't really flourish right now because the way the games are being played, the way the games are working out. So, none of it's good, but obviously, we're going to hear this message of patience, and a lot of people aren't going to want to do it. A lot of people aren't going to want to follow it. I get it. I understand that, but it's where we're at. We're going to have to be patient. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Stop supporting the team? Stop watching the team? You're going to be fair weather fans? We have to stick around. Utah fans are throwing it up in our face right now that only 53,000 people showed up. The stadium was empty. Portion of the stadium was empty. I understand the reasoning behind that, but it gives people ammunition, right, to talk bad about our fan base, which, it's hard to explain to somebody, but we've been bad. This will be 7 years in a row. We had 1 year when we won 9 games, but even then it didn't feel like we were some good team that expected to win. We were surprised when we won 9 games. So it's not like, it's not like the year where you go into it and you're really disappointed because you didn't win. Like, probably the biggest disappointment outside of like those teams under Rich Rod was probably the team with Gino and them that went up to Texas Tech and just got absolutely boat raced when they were pushing towards the top 5. Like, we don't have that anymore. Like, I would die for that right now. I would die to be pushing towards the top 5 and get blown out, out because you're just not ready for a game or something. This team just don't have the horses. It's just the way it is. Let's go. Let's look at some of the defensive stuff here. Devin Dampier goes 21 of 26 through 237 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. And they had 6 guys rush for 30 yards or more, close to it. Wayshawn Parker, 9 carries, 66 yards. Naquari Rogers, 13 carries, 61 yards. Devin Dampier, 11 carries, 33 yards. Daniel Bray, 3 carries, 32 yards. I mean, it's just, and everything from 14 yards a carry to 7 yards a carry to 10 yards a carry from each of these guys. Nobody could guard Ryan Davis or Dylan Bentley today because they kept putting them in advantageous situations against players that couldn't guard them. So that's what was happening there. And it's basically we got whipped, like I've got up here, right? We got totally whooped, as my dad would say, and not proud of it. But, there were a couple positives towards the end of the game that we'll talk about in the next segment because, I have questions now. I think I saw enough today, and maybe it was because Utah had pulled some players out. I'm not exactly sure. But there were players for West Virginia in certain spots that played a lot better. By my eye, I'm curious to know how some of you feel. West Virginia looked like they played better in other spots. Let's just go to break and we'll talk about it next because I have some questions about some different positions that are – I don't know if he's just being stubborn or what. We'll talk about it. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends. Oh, our friendly friends. Of course, we're talking about the ones over at Square or the Game Cap. Apologies. When it comes to the Game Cap, if you want that design, the design that everybody's talking about, you could go back, sit in front row at your school's biggest rivalry game. What hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the Backyard Brawl game. These aren't just hats. They're the same Bennett styles worn back in the 80s and 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then when you use code Locked On. You'll get your own vintage hat for $16.99. Head to thegamecaps.com. That's, quote, thegamecaps.com to grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use the code Locked On for an exclusive discount because legends, they wear the game. All right, guys, we are back here. It's segment 2. I don't have a do. I've got a Gatorade, though. So we'll crack a Gatorade do in segment 2. I got a notification on my phone just now, and I'm wondering because I have an Instacart order supposed to be coming, and it says between 7 and 9. I'm really curious to see if it's coming right in the middle of the show. That would be my luck. So I'm going to try to check this on the fly while we're doing this. I apologize. But I have some questions about some of the players that were played today, and I'm curious to know how some of you guys feel. The first one I'll address is Khalil Wilkins. Okay. Nope, not out there. Khalil Wilkins, obviously he looked good at times out there today. He is a even bigger deficit with throwing the football than Jalen Henderson is. There's no doubt. He can throw the deep ball, like they said on the show, but outside of that, he struggles, right? So if you're going to play him, you're going to have to figure out a way to run that style of offense. Obviously, Cam Vaughn can go deep. Gerard Bowie can go deep. He looked good today. But outside of that, I don't know. I mean, can you do an offense without being able to run the ball that can do that kind of thing? I'm really don't know. It's kind of scary to think about because I don't know, man. I like Khalil a lot. I think he's an electric runner of the football. We saw that today. Let's just share the screen because let me see here. I don't know if there's any plays from Khalil, but we have his high school tape as well, But, and I know it was not a great reason for him to have to come into the game because Jalen kind of got dinged up. I just want to win football games, really. That's what it comes down to. Does Khalil Wilkins give us a chance? He does as a runner, there's no doubt. I mean, I can't deny that. But as a passer, he's deficient. I mean, it's not a lie either. Max Brown, I was excited to see him throw it a couple times so people can see like he can throw it. He got hurt trying to hurdle somebody, trying to earn playing time on the second snap. So now it's like not only are you down Nico, potentially Jalen Henderson, you're down to Max Brown out now possibly. Now you're down to 2 freshmen. Like it comically can't get worse. Now, if you talk about Ty Edwards beside Jalen, or I mean, not Jalen, but, Ty Edwards is a great distraction for Khalil Wilkins, right? So, that could be fun. I could see us move the ball with those two. We would have to go back to – we just don't know. That's the problem, though. If we had an offensive line that I even halfway trusted, I would say, yeah, just run the ball all the time. Like we did before. We used to have that offensive line. Like people knew we were going to run it and we still were able to. And because we had enough we could do off of it. I like the idea of Khalil. I just don't think he, as a passer, you're going to get in some tricky situations, but it certainly looked better when he came in. And I wasn't watching Utah enough to know, how many players they didn't have in the game. So, it's going to be fun to try to parse through this for me. I just hope our fan base comes along for the ride because they need our support, right? Scotty Fox obviously is in the running for that still, I think. I mean, he's the better passer of the two, no doubt, but he's not as dynamic as Khalil's a runner. Khalil looks so explosive today. He's very obviously gained some strength and speed since he got to West Virginia. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Let me see if we can find some of his high school stuff on here because when he was in high school, like here's some of his high school stuff. Like when he was in high school, that it wasn't like
Wilkins looks under heavy pressure.
Hold on, let me turn off the volume to it a little bit here.
No way.
I mean, he didn't look like
Khalil Wilkins. And he stays in.
From the tape I remember studying whenever he committed under Neil Brown, wasn't like, oh my God, this is some Pat White dynamic kind of runner. But man, today, I can't say that. He looked really good running the football sometimes today. Well, that's not really running it, but I mean, that was a pretty throw. Let's see what this one is. I used to have a whole bunch of film on him, but I don't know what happened to it. He may throw it again. Who knows? But I mean, he is capable of doing that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe he can improve. You know, he just needs time in the offense. It's hard to say. But anyways, I'll also say this. These Utah fans, man, dude, you know, they were so easy to farm. Like that was probably the funnest part of today for me was farming Utah fans. Like they are the easiest people to get riled up. All you have to do is pretend to be upset or anything of that nature, and they're all over it. But they certainly thought they were getting me back today online. I was like, thanks for the mentions, you know. I had a good time with it, but I think some of them were starting to take it kind of seriously. So probably need to leave them alone now. We're moving on to BYU anyways. And you know what? I have to be honest. BYU week's going to be wild for me. It really is. I went to the wrong thing. Let's see. I wanted to show you guys the stats for the game because it is brutal, man. Let's see. There it is. All right. So if you look at team stats, it's 343 yards total, and a lot of that came in the fourth quarter again. 532 yards for Utah, 290 passing, 240 rushing. Great balance for them. We had 250 rushing yards, which is shocking because it doesn't feel like we did. We only had 14 first downs. They had 30. They were 8 of 13 on third down, but I mean, they started out with their 5 out of their first 6 third down drives they made. They were 3 for 3 on fourth down. They ran 77 plays. That's all. It felt like they ran more than that. They didn't punt one time, guys. Their punter didn't punt one time today. Ah, boy. I don't know, man. So it's just an overall frustration, isn't it? I don't know. I think best thing we can hope for is Ty Edwards to come back. And, oh yeah, here's the other thing I wanted to get to. Did it look like Ogbo looked a lot better at right tackle? I mean, I'm going to go back and watch the tape, but I feel like Ogbo looked a lot better at right tackle than what we've had there. Maybe it's just me. I really liked what I saw there. You couple that with a couple other things, like Xavier Bosley. I mean, can he come in and make an impact? I don't know. I mean, we know he's just now getting back into the flow of things, but there's no way that this is our starting offensive line. I mean, and then Dior Hubbard. Dior Hubbard looked really good today at times. I mean, they really did. I felt like Dior Hubbard looked really good at times today. So I'm kind of speechless as to some of the decisions. I know Larry Porter makes the decisions for the running backs. I know Jack McNeil makes the decisions for the offensive linemen. But I was shocked to see them all the same 5 play again today. I was expecting somebody else to come in the game. I really was. Didn't happen. Here we are. You look at player stats for West Virginia. Rushing, Gerard Bowie had that 1 for 68 yards. He needs some more touches. He looked really good today. He just looked really good today. Dior Hubbard only got 10 touches. Khalil Wilkins, 9 rushes, 39 yards. Jalen Henderson had 13 rushes for 28 yards. Clay Ash, 7 for 25. Max Brown only had 2 for 19. Ronnie Gallagher, 3 for 14. Scotty Fox, 2 for 5. Jack Litch, 1 for -1. Cam Vaughn was the only bright spot on the offense today. He had the 1 touchdown, 3 receptions, 62 yards, and a touchdown. It sucks because they're wasting his talent. Cam Vaughn deserves better. He's almost nigh unguardable. We just don't have anybody that can get him the ball. If we had anybody, just any semblance of a run game, Cam Vaughn would be such a beneficial help. He is so talented, and we're wasting it. I hope next year we can get some O-line in so we can run the ball and toss it deep to Cam Vaughn, and hopefully he stays. After this year, I wouldn't blame him if he left. I mean, God. You know, there was 6 or 7. There was the Vikings. There was the 49ers. There was a bunch of different ones from the league here today. NFL. You think Utah feels pretty good about how they performed in front of them? I'd say so. What about West Virginia? Probably not. Kids notice that. Kids mark that stuff down in their heads. We'll be back after break. We'll put a bow on this one. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. And look, when FanDuel comes around, you know they're around because the NFL season is here. FanDuel is making sure you get ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 to make you holler. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it pretty much fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app today yourself by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And, of course, we can't forget about our friends over at Square College. And Square College is one of those places that, you know, it says there's over 4 million people using Square. And that's not a lie. It's the truth. I actually know somebody personally that does. And, you know, they're your favorite neighborhood spots, right? They run on Square. Well, these are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home. Whether it's a local sports bar on game days that's packed, coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or a corner deli that's been serving your community for decades, these are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives after all. Those local spots are what make the neighborhood feel like home, and so many of them run on Square today. So Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/lockedoncollege to learn more, but before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did with Square. See you in the neighborhood. All right, guys, we're back here, Locked On West Virginia. So the question is, you'll see, where do we go from here? It's a great question that, you know, I don't have the answer to. I mean, I don't envy the coaching job that Rich Rod has to do right now. But, you know, just remember, guys, whenever you want to get mad and declare war on Rich Rod, just remember this, just repeat this to yourself. It's year one, there's 80 new players, and they're down at least 14 players that would play right now. And you're down number quarterback 1, you're down number quarterback 2, you're down number quarterback possibly 3, you're down running back 1, you're down running back 2, you're down running back 3, you're almost, and you may be down running back 4 now. This is not a fabric of my imagination. Like, think about this. Jalen Knighton, who they had counted on being here, is gone. He never even got to play a snap. That was running back number 2. Jaheim White, running back number 1. Ty Edwards, running back number 3. Nico Marchiol, Jalen Henderson, Max Brown. There's not many teams in the country that can survive just those. And so I see people putting so many missed tackles, but I don't think people understand I'm not going to say you don't. I'm not saying you don't, Mike. Just hear me out here. I'm not saying our defense didn't play well, or I'm not saying they played well. I'm saying this. This is, you know what attrition is, right? Attrition, let me look up the definition for attrition because I want to make sure I get this right, this comparison I'm going to make. It's the action or process of gradually reducing the strength or effectiveness of someone or something through sustained attack or pressure. Perfect. Exactly what I needed it to be. So it's the action or process of gradually reducing the strength or effectiveness of someone or something through sustained attack or pressure. When you put your defense out on the field week after week after week after week after week now, drive after drive after drive gets stalled out, sustained attack or pressure, reduced resistance. Our defense, which was really solid a couple of weeks ago, is beat the hell up. You think they're tired of running into a battering ram week after week? Not to mention Utah's a good football team. It's just too much. They're constantly under attack. It would be too much. They need a break. They need a reprieve. They need help. And our offense isn't providing it early in games. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, late in games, we've moved the ball a little bit. But you can't go false start on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or whatever it was, and would have made a 21-7 game going into half. Could have turned the game around. You never know. You never know. Momentum's a funny, fickle thing in sports. So our defense, yes, missed tackles, no doubt about it. But what I'm saying is, week after week after week, they're having to bow up and be this hero ball site. They're trying to have to play hero ball. It's just not enough, man. It's just too much. It can't be both, can it? It's too much. It's not that it's not enough. It's too much. It's not enough on offense and it's too much on defense. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So this is the position we're in now. I don't envy us having to go out to Provo next week. Provo's amazing. I enjoyed my time out there, as a lot of you guys know, much to some of the Utah fans' chagrin. But yeah, so, Provo is going to be an amazing week. I'm going to release the video for my trip during Provo week because I felt like that would be the best time to release it and all that. So we're going to have fun with that, and we're going to do our level best to make sure that this is a good week. Don't give up on us now. I know I asked you guys this before this game, but let's just try to work out the kinks. Think of it like this. Yes, we're 2-3. Yes, we probably will lose to BYU, but if we can pull it off, and just if we can pull it off, you're 3-3 and you're going into the bye. Who knows what can happen? You can really work on some things during the bye. Really, you can. We just have to hope that we can do that. We can get to the bye at 3-3 or even 2-4, and maybe you can turn your season around after the bye. Baylor did it last year. Baylor was 2-4 going into the bye, and they turned their whole season around. You just got to find something that works, or some players, a combination of players. Maybe they're not on the roster. Maybe there's some injuries that need to get better. Maybe Xavier Bosley can finally plug in, and we can play Ogbo on the right side beside him. I have no idea, but I'm just saying, let's give it another couple weeks, before you really totally give up on this team this year making a bowl game. It's attrition. Like I said, Ether, they've had to stand up and play hero defense every single week. And then finally, after about 2 quarters of last week at Kansas, they finally got beat up. We went 3 and out on 6 straight possessions last week. 6 straight possessions last week. Our offense went 3 and out, running a play every 20 seconds. They're getting no rest. They're getting no reprieve, man. I'm not saying they're an elite defense. I'm saying they're a good defense but they have to be complemented by a good offense. This defense isn't the 2010 defense. This isn't the Ravens defense where you can win a game 10-3. I'm saying that this defense is good enough if you complement it to play well enough to win games. Unfortunately, right now they're beat up and they've had to do it too much this year. It's my opinion. You can have a different opinion. So, well, I mean, we couldn't go address every single position with elite players. I mean, we signed what we could. You got to hope next year we sign at least half. Next year we hope we have 30 new players instead of 80. It's going to be wild to see. I mean, it's going to be tough. Maybe it takes 3 years for Rich Rod. I don't know. Unless we can go outside the portal and address this thing. Not outside the portal, outside the cap. I don't know if we can address everything inside the cap. I don't know. Maybe this year's recruiting class will turn out to be better than we thought. But I'm at a loss for words. Honestly, it's frustrating. We've never been in this situation as West Virginia fans. And we're running out of time. It feels like it. So I appreciate you guys for being here. I mean, honestly, it's tough. We're in a tough spot. I never thought we would be here 20 years ago, but here we are. But I'm not ready to give up, obviously. So let Rich Rod do what he does. We'll see if it gets better. Supposedly they get better as the year goes on. We'll see if it happens. With all the injuries, we're not going to. We need to get guys back, right? I mean, that's just a fact. If we don't get some of these guys back, then it's just a throwaway year. So let's see what happens with that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm taking the rest of the day off. I'm not going to record again tonight. I've had it. But I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll do a couple videos tomorrow, and we'll talk about some things. I love you guys, man. Until then, have a great night. I'll see you then.